Smart aesthetic, branding, marketing, entrepreneurship.
Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. I'm so excited. All the way from Italy, Luigia is here. Hi, Luigia.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Or should I say ciao, come stai? Work on my Italian. It's no good
Yeah,
though.
work it
I've
out.
lost
Why
it.
not?
Right? Well,
Mm.
thank you so much, especially with the time zone differences, for joining us on the podcast. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about, mostly your rebrand, which we worked on. But we'd love to get to know you, who you are, and how you started your company, Piano Chi. So tell
First
us a
of
little
all,
bit.
yeah, time difference is not a problem because I have an excuse to do it while sipping a
Oh,
nice Biancolella from East, yeah,
jealous.
because it's
Jealous.
9 p.m. here. So I'm a lawyer specialized in real estate, and I founded Piano Chi Property Management. So I open up beautiful properties, especially in southern Italy, for guests from all over the world.
Oh my goodness. And did you grow up Amalfi Coast? Like, are you from Naples exactly?
I'm from Naples, but I've studied law in Milan, and I've
Okay.
done like an exchange in Sydney, some exams, summer exams in London. So I was trying to escape a bit. And then
Uh-huh.
I ended up again in my hometown, which is Napoli. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so then you started as a lawyer. Did you know, so studying real estate law, that you wanted to do what you're doing now with Piano Chi? Or did you kind of like stumble into what you're offering now? Kind of give us the pitch of what Piano Chi offers.
Actually, I stumbled in it because before 2017 in Italy, it wasn't allowed to do short lets. So if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to rent out your properties, it would have been at least a 4-year contract.
Wow.
So I completely didn't know about that. But a lot of the clients of our law firm had beautiful properties on the islands and on the Amalfi Coast. So as soon as Italian law allowed to give short lets of minimum 2 nights, up to 30 nights, I felt a bit the opportunity to get into that
Mm-hmm.
business.
So you started first kind of, you knew all these clients that had these beautiful homes. We started renting properties. I didn't realize that the short lets weren't available prior to 2017. That's kind of wild
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. Prior to 2017, if you wanted to go on holiday in Italy, it would have been in hotels.
Yeah.
So this really created a revolution in the
Yeah.
tourism world in Italy. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, it makes sense why Italian tourism is up so much in the last few years. Like, I think it was really like within the last 3 years after COVID, I can't go on my social media without looking at pictures of Italy, which is no problem for me. I love Italy. So that's all fine and good. But what kind of drew you to the idea of hospitality and wanting to take on this role? Because what I think you guys do that's so interesting is you kind of act as the concierge or the liaison between the family that owns the homes and the people that are coming in for the rentals, correct? Is that kind of what you would describe as the main service of Piano Chi?
Yeah, absolutely. Because so what drew me into hospitality? I'm from southern Italy, from a large family, is a bit in our DNA, let's say.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
On the other hand, the legal background helped me to be professional in the eyes of the owners to let me manage their properties. So
Yeah.
I think that my cultural background and my studies helped me to link these two worlds of
Mhm.
property owners and tourism. Yeah.
And so on the owner side, what were some of the hesitations? So when you first go to those first few clients and you say, "Okay, now short lets are an option. I think you should trust me to run this for you." What kind of conversations, what were they nervous about in the beginning? And what are some of the things that
In
you worked on?
In the beginning, it's very psychological because property owners are very much attached to their properties. They have all their memories, their adolescence or their childhood related to the property. And most of the time they inherited from other generation. So there's really a strong bond with those properties and they're afraid to let a stranger manage it. So at
Mhm.
the beginning, it's really spontaneous. Like you trust me or not, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's really something personal that they give to you. Then, of course, aside from the first impression they can have, I convince them with the qualities of our services, also with the other properties I manage. I show them how I
Mhm.
manage them, the reviews from clients. And sometimes I even put them in contact with other property owners to say, if you want to hear a story that is similar to yours, I give you their number,
Sure,
call
sure.
them, and they can give you a very objective opinion about our
Yeah.
services. Yeah, at
Yeah,
the
okay.
beginning, it's very psychological. Yeah.
Sure, but obviously you're coming also with your professional background. As you mentioned, you're a lawyer, used to working with people that are ready to probably spend a good amount of money on legal services. So I'm sure that helps. But as you're talking to these property owners, it's 2017, it's at the beginning. How do you get them through, like, how quickly did your business grow in the beginning, from the very first property that you managed to how large your portfolio is now? Because it's super impressive.
I started with a property that I owned with my siblings, and it was
Nice.
my boyfriend, now my husband, who told me, "Why don't you start to rent it out? You never use it. Now it's allowed to do it. Do it." So I started with the 23 Baci, a studio in Capri, and then the word spread in the law firm that I started this business. And
Mm.
since we were managing all boring stuff in the law
Uh-huh.
firm, everybody wants to talk about this side business, let's say. So a lot of clients from the law firm ended up giving me their properties to manage. And now it's not anymore like a word from mouth to mouth, but also thanks
Sure.
to your rebranding, it's also people
Yeah.
that I don't know that come to me and they want my services. So yeah,
Exciting.
it was
Exciting.
scaling up very fast. Yeah.
Well, and even the way that we connected with each other is a fun story because I had booked
Yeah,
one of the
true.
properties that you manage in Ischia for my 30th birthday trip. And I remember messaging you when I was there saying like, "Oh, okay, I'm taking so many pictures. Like, can I send them to you? Like, do you have an Instagram? I could tag you." And we kind of just stayed connected. But had you ever had a guest like be that forward? It's very American, I feel
No,
like. To be
no,
like, "Let me help you with your marketing."
yes, indeed. That's actually, you can see from that you do really what you love. Because if you
Yeah,
do it even on holiday, it's really something you love. Otherwise, you don't
right.
do it. And it was
Right.
spontaneous and nice. So I appreciate because I have a lot of potential clients
Totally.
telling me, I will forward you the content that I do while I stay, but then, I want a
Right.
discount or stuff. You were a normal client and just enjoying life during your stay. And then at the end of it, you were like, I can drop you a folder with all our content. So it was really spontaneous, nice, and from the heart, if we can say. So I was
Yeah.
touched by it. And I thought
And
maybe I should start to rebrand. And if I do it, I will do it with Michelle.
amazing. No, I noticed too that when I had booked that property in particular, it maybe you just started managing it because I think there were like not very many reviews and I was looking at it with my sister and I was like, the pictures are really great. Like I feel like it has a lot of potential. And Luigia, it says super host. I was like, she must know what she's doing. So that gave me extra confidence, but I think being there, it like absolutely defied our expectations. Lauren and I talked about it on the podcast episode that she was on, which was just how cozy it felt. Like it felt like a home without being in someone's personal home, like you're talking about, but it had that real sense of like history and story. And then we went on like the boat charter and he pointed to the house. He goes, they have a big party every summer, the owners. Like they love, like, this is the house that everybody knows. We're like, oh, we're staying there. It was just so fun to be part of like the story. And I think that that's something that you just don't get when you stay in hotels. And that's something that I think we really tried to channel in your branding. So by December, we'd kind of worked out that you wanted to work with our team for the rebrand. What did you have as far as branding before you started? And where do you feel like you were like, okay, I want to take it a little bit to the next level?
So since it started as a side business, the logo was made by a friend of mine. The website was made by me.
Love it.
So it was really something that at the beginning I didn't believe too much in it, let's say. Then
Sure.
when the content started to become strong, because now I'm managing quite important properties, especially in Capri, I felt like, okay, Now it's like having a woman that is having her career, but doesn't have the right suit to go to the
Uh-huh.
meeting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, that's the moment to give a nice suit to this woman that is making success in her career. So that was the moment when I reached 40 properties, and some of them are historical properties. I said, okay, now it's time to give it a nice face.
Right, right. And to make the branding look like the way that it feels to work with you. I think that's what my team is always focused on is we want the experience of the company, the product or the service to match the branding so that you're attracting the right type of person into it and making them feel like that they're welcome, but that it's also slightly aspirational, like they can kind of look up to it. So I feel like we channeled that really well. We had some really fun colors and fun branding. What part of the process did you look forward to the most? Like, what surprised you the most in working with our team and bringing the whole thing together where it kind of clicked in?
So, first of all, I appreciated a lot the attention you gave to the message I wanted to give, which was not easy because I had a double public, which was the property owners and the tourists. And I said, my property owners are of this average age. The tourists are quite younger. I don't want to work with average tourists. I want to work with tourists that want to be like temporary residents that are looking for something authentic. And I want to work with owners that own nice properties. I mean, it was not easy to get to it, but you were very open to listen to the message I wanted to give. We organized several video calls to reach it. And for me, the logo, first of all, was already a very positive impression for me. The color palette and even all the developments that you imagined for the brand. So to be honest, from the start until the end, it was an extremely professional way of helping me with the rebranding, honestly.
Oh, that's our favorite thing to hear. Always. Always our favorite thing to hear. But also to the point of, I like what you said about how kind of painting the picture for what the potential of the brand could be. We used a lot of like AI in the beginning of your process because you explained to us how in your split audience, oftentimes it's the kids of the parents or the kids of the homeowner that are bringing this opportunity to the family. And the story I remember you telling me is like, imagine, a couple in their 60s or 70s and their kids are adults and they've gone to the same summer house for vacation their whole lives. And now they don't want to because they live in the city or they want to go somewhere else. And it's kind of the idea of that person bringing the Piano Chi brand to their parent, where it has to be attractive enough for like a 20, 30, 40-year-old, but also trustworthy enough for someone who's 60, 70 plus to feel like it looks legitimate, it looks trustworthy, it looks established. So a lot of that we represented with the AI images, which we used in some places on the website and in the branding presentation. What did you think about all of like the new technology and the AI? Was that helpful to see kind of the ideation or the brainstorm at that level?
I think it was very helpful because you've used it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
I explained what I say. Now there are a lot of AI pictures going around of villas in Capri. First of all, we have a lot of beautiful real villas that exist already. And second of all, you create a fake news in the eye of the people because you see a lot of comments asking, where is it? I want to go there. It doesn't exist. So you use it in a very respectful way with a purpose to help somebody, And in that case, it was me. So I appreciated that you used it in a reasonable way, in a useful way. So this I appreciated a lot. It was very helpful. Also to imagine the ideal client of my business. That was very helpful.
And you can use these shots that we made with AI to visualize the ideal client as your photo shoot shot list when you are ready to shoot photo and video. So if you wanted to do a video campaign or a photo shoot and you needed to source people that look, or real clients that looked like these people, you kind of had an idea of how they should be shot, what the lighting could be, what the style could be to match the brand. But I think you're totally right. It does get tricky with some of this real estate AI because it's completely misleading. And it's something that, we can tell because we've been there. but you can't always get a sense for what's real and what's not real, and trying to manage someone's expectations too. You don't want to just be like assuming everything is fake, but very interesting. And legally, I feel like that's interesting as well.
Yeah, yes, indeed. At least in Italy now, every time you publish something with AI, you need to declare it.
Tag it.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, and maybe also in the US, I don't know. But yeah, it's needed because, as you say, not everybody sees the difference between the two.
True. What we can see, though, are things that are made and that are real. So we just dropped off for you when I was in Italy back in March some actual printed materials for Piano Chi. Have you started using them yet? And can you tell us a little bit about how you're bringing the brand to life now, physical, like real, not just online?
Yeah. So you gave us the pin of Piano
Uh-huh.
Chi, and I handled them to all the ladies that do the check-in and check-out for
Nice.
us. So I've asked, please
Nice.
wear them when you welcome our guests or when you say goodbye. And then I've received the coaster for the
Mm-hmm.
glasses, and I'm planning to organize a launch of the rebranding of Piano Chi in Belgium, in Brussels. So
Fun.
I thought using them during these aperitif with the Italian products, I will use them. And yep, for the rest, you gave me a lot of other ideas like labels for
Uh-huh.
bottle of wines or for the peignoir. Like
Mm-hmm.
this, as I told you, I will slowly
Yes.
uh,
We gave you
go for it.
way
Yeah.
too many ideas from the from the jump. I was like, okay, if there was no budget and we could make anything we wanted to make, what would we do? And I think you're in this interesting spot between you've positioned yourself really nicely between hotel, like five-star hotel, and an Airbnb being like this is the next best thing to that luxury experience, but you're not having to feel like you're one of the crowd in a hotel, right? Like it feels really authentic, it feels super local. I have, of course, my favorite hotels that I think of that have these nice touches. But even like you're talking about like coasters and coffee mugs and wine glasses and wine bottles and robes and slippers, like it all kind of gives you that really special, really taken care of, like good hospitality feeling. So it'll be really exciting to see you implement some of those. Have you gotten good feedback from people on the branding that aren't in your immediate circle of people? Like what's been the feedback or the reaction from other people that have seen the new look?
Everybody said that was the time to do it.
Nice.
Like they were
Nice.
looking for it. So I had all positive impressions. And most of all, I've been contacted by new clients, which was
Yeah.
a very nice outcome from the rebranding.
No, that's the dream, right? And also you are working with Airbnb as their ambassador of sorts, right? So again, I
Yeah,
think that must
community
have been
leader.
community leader. That must have been really helpful in the beginning as well. So when we were thinking about your rebranding, making sure that you had a brand that looked like subtle next to when you're at one of these events, so it didn't look too self-promotional, but it had that level of kind of professionalism and class and, real presence so that you can continue to be a leader in this space. Would you recommend if somebody who is listening to this episode and maybe they have a short-term rental getting involved as community manager like that? Like, was that helpful to you in your business?
Yes, absolutely. Because it gives you an extra dimension. Like
Yeah.
if you represent a huge multinational company as Airbnb, of course, people trust you more.
Sure.
And first,
Sure.
and there's also quite a severe process to become a community leader. So it's a
Oh.
guarantee. When people know that you're a community leader for Airbnb, it means that you know a lot about Airbnb business. Yeah, it gives extra trust to
Yeah.
people that deal
Yeah.
with you.
What is the sentiment around Airbnb now in Italy? Like, are people still enthusiastic about it, or do you sense that it's starting to shift?
So it's double, but I talk about it as Luigia, not as
Yeah.
Airbnb
Sure, sure.
community leader. It's double because, of course, it needs to be a bit ruled.
Mm,
I don't think that the solution that Barcelona
yeah.
applied is the solution. I don't think it's a solution because this is a phenomenon that doesn't need to be stopped. I think it needs to be ruled, but not stopped. But at the same time, I understand that local communities have difficulty in finding homes to live in.
Sure.
So I believe it's a process to improve, but not to stop. And Airbnb became a bit the face of this process, but booking it's VRBO, but maybe
Mhm.
Airbnb is the easier to
Mhm.
pronounce. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a process that needs to be ruled but not stopped. This I strongly believe.
Well, and we have the similar situation in San Diego. We have a housing crisis as well, but there are also a lot of short-term vacation rentals. So it is that delicate pattern of both. But I think when, like you're saying, when it sounds like you're attracting guests that are mostly respectful and honest and, like trying to participate in a more local way. I think when Airbnb becomes an issue is when you get people that just come through and don't have any respect for where they're at or respect for the property, respect for the neighbors, anything like that. So I think you've positioned yourself at a nice point for that, where you're attracting people that really are drawn to the lifestyle and drawn to being repeat customers. It seems like maybe you wouldn't get as much of the people that are the travelers that are disrespectful. Do you find that to be true?
Absolutely true. I'm
Yeah.
so happy when I have guests that ask me even more details than what we give already about how to separate the garbage.
Right,
This
right.
means that first of all, you care about the planet, you respect the territory you're in, and you know that if you are on an island, garbage is a real issue.
Mhm.
So this, I love it. And also to reduce the use of plastics. A lot of people ask me, but is the water drinkable? Okay, not. For example, in Capri, it's not drinkable, but there are a
Mhm.
couple of sources, public sources you can go to and fill your bottle. So when I get these kind of questions, I'm really glad because I understand that I'm attracting people that respect the destination they're going to. This is
Sure.
very, very nice, I think.
And I think you get there as well with your own positioning and your own like the photography style and the branding and the website. Like it has that kind of elevated, respectful, like fancy hotel kind of feeling where you're not going to be going crazy and throwing a party, but you're going to do so respectfully, right? A nice aperitivo is totally appropriate for this brand. What's something that
True.
someone who might want to work with you, what would you want them to know before they hire you to help with their vacation rental?
What do I want them to know?
Yeah, someone who's thinking
Okay.
about working with
Yeah.
Pianochi, or they're thinking, "Maybe I'll just
Okay.
list it on Airbnb
Okay.
myself." Like, what's something that you wish that they knew?
So they have to know that by letting us manage their properties, they would be even more proud of their properties than before
Mm,
because
mhm,
they would have the appreciation from people coming from all over the world of their properties. And also that something that you cannot pay enough for it is that if you want to go to your house the 15th of August in Capri or Ischia or Procida, and everything is working. This is
mhm.
something it's unbelievable because normally you go to your property and the first week you meet the plumber, the electrician,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and the carpenter, and so having your property ready to use for yourself and ready
Mm.
to use for tourists from all over the world, I think it's just something that gives to your property an extra value.
Yeah, and it sounds like it gives the homeowners, like, extra peace of mind to know that
Yeah.
it's managed well, it's taken care of, things aren't going neglected, like, the gardening is kept up and the appliances work, and there's people that are using the space. Like, I know this of my family, and we have, like, a lake house in Tahoe, and when we're not there, we feel guilty that no one's enjoying it. You start to feel like, "Oh, it's too bad." Like, it's so nice, like, I'd like to be there right now, but if I can't be there, at least someone else should enjoy it. And I like that mentality. I think I've always been drawn to that sharing. I think you
Yeah.
too. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even my last acquisition of a beautiful apartment in the center of Napoli, sea view, the owner was like, I don't really need to rent it out, but it's such pity that it's empty
Yeah.
uh, almost all year long because I live in Milan. My son is studying in London, and so it's really a pity, like for people. So I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree. It's a nice reaction to it. Yeah.
That's fun. Where do you see Pianochi heading in the next maybe 3-5 years? Like, what are your goals? How much do you want to grow? Because you have a lot of properties under your belt. That's a lot of work, I can imagine. Where do you see this brand going?
So aside from having my portfolio growing, is of course a goal, I would like to participate to the well-being of the communities where I have the properties in. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, a couple of years ago, we participated to the restoration of some columns of La Certosa di Capri that they needed restoration, and we participated to it. If there's a table to talk about housing for people that want to leave, to let their children live in Anacapri, I want to participate to it. I mean, I want to participate to enhance the well-being of local communities, aside from the real estate portfolio, which will grow. If things go well, it will grow. But I think we need to care about, recently we had a water shortage in Capri for 48 hours.
Yes.
Because a tube exploded in the Amalfi Coast. We had residents and tourists with no water for 48 hours on Capri, which is not acceptable. So if there's a table talking about creating a machine for emergency cases that desalinatore, to take the water from the sea. How do you say it?
Desalination.
Okay. Then I want to participate to it. I want more to create an impact on the well-being of, because this territory is giving us a lot. So it's time for us to give something back.
Oh, and that's good business karma. That's if you're invested in your community and you show up for your community and you don't really expect anything back, you get that back anyway. That's kind of like the karma way of when you're active and you have a presence, especially when you have a presence with your pin with your logo on it.
Yeah.
And people start to recognize that, and they recognize you as being the person that is invested in what's happening. I think that's just a good lesson for all business owners, is that energy comes back to you. I believe that for sure. Lovely.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Well, where can everyone find, follow, connect with Pianochi, maybe hire you? Maybe they have a property that they want your help with. Where can they find you?
So on pianochipm.com or on our Instagram account. On the same name, Pianochi Property Management.
Property management. We didn't tell the story of how you came up with the name Pianochi. Can we tell that one really quick? Tell us how you landed on the name Pianochi.
Yeah. So let's say from my story point of view, Piano A was being a lawyer, avvocato in Italian. Piano B was having a bike sharing business in Napoli. And then we ended up with the Piano C, the C for casa, and it's also my third plan, let's say. But
love it.
Thanks to you, we also gave it another meaning, which was like Piano A, managing the property yourself, Piano B, selling it, Piano C, letting us manage. So you helped me even to give it a second meaning to it.
Yeah, and I think it sticks. I think it works. I think it works.
True.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your glass of wine. You barely drank it the whole time, so you're going to have to to chug it later. Cheers to you, and thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Okay. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you, Michelle.
Ciao.
Ciao. Have a nice day. Ciao.